So I do not know what's going on in the ATP. I just don't have the bandwidth. So, wish them luck.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Body Serve. I'm Jonathan.
I'm James.
The French Open is over. It's been over for about 5 days now. We are late.
Yeah, thank you for your patience. It was one thing after another, I tell you. It wasn't because that person won. That was not the reason for the delay. It sucks, no doubt. But we didn't have to, put ourselves together again. We were with family over the weekend out of town. And then some other work shit, and it just felt like this would be a time when we actually had together to relax and do it right.
The not-so-small issue of bags from multiple trips still everywhere. Literally living in filth, or what it felt like.
Not that. Certainly not that.
It wasn't dirty, it was just cluttered, and then right back to work. It's been a hectic few weeks. I think once we're done with this big batch here, then we'll be able to get back on a more regular schedule. Things will feel normal.
I mean, I appreciate that listeners had asked, hey, are you doing this or not? And that you've been patient and you've waited, but I didn't mind differing the schedule a little bit for our Slam episodes. I think it gave a little more freedom to how we covered them.
Well, the reason for that is because we really don't give one flying fuck about numbers anymore. That's what it boils down to.
You mean downloads?
Yeah, that's what it boils down to. When back in the day, when we were shooting for the stars and before we had our Dorian Corey come to Jesus moment.
You may have.
Where if you shoot an arrow and it goes real high, hooray for you.
But if you don't, that's all right too.
I'm just happy to have made a mark.
The great thing about being independent is that we can cover whatever the fuck we want. And what we owe is consistency and honesty and entertainment to our listeners who've supported us for all of these years. Mm-hmm. That's it, right? We don't have brand deals to imperil. We don't have important people that we can't offend. I feel fairly free on the show. And therefore, I did not watch the men's final. I do not watch that man's matches. And therefore, we will not be talking about it.
Mm-hmm. As you say that, I'm going to say that we were at your parents' house in Rochester for that final. And I don't know how much of that match your mother watched, but when I got up, she was watching it. And I watched a couple games, and I was like, well, that's it for me.
Gotta go.
See ya.
I didn't see a point, so...
You were up, but you were just on your phone and watching TikToks or reading or something.
Yeah, it's not important to me, right? I'm not a journalist. I don't work for the New York Times or the Times of London. I don't have a responsibility to watch it.
Mm-hmm. I was following the scores just in case a big choke was happening. Because there's nothing I love more than watching him fall flat on his face.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if it started to look like that, I probably would have tuned in.
Let's start with the woman.
Mirra Andreeva, 19 years old, winning her first major title.
Against Maja. Maja
Walinska. Thank you to Caroline Wozniacki for teaching everyone on TNT how to say it. I even looked at the International Phonetic Alphabet version. If you can't make that h sound at the beginning, I guess it's okay, but we'll try our best.
That was a mini Ripperton reference?
I know.
Okay.
I'm sure a lot of people knew that. Starting with Mirra, like I said, 19 years old, the women's draw kind of fell apart around her, but we're left with a champion who's not all that surprising, right? Mm-hmm. Not totally out of the box.
It makes sense. To be clear, the entire Roland Garros draw experience was a calamity.
Right.
On both
On
sides. It was a minefield. It was people falling over each other, trying to get to a finish line with huge opportunity ahead of them. That was spoken about in great detail on the men's side.
Mhm.
It was also the case on the women's side. This was an opportunity for a lot of people, and it just did not happen.
And getting to the second week, this was Arina Sabalenka's tournament to lose. She was the runner-up last year. She won the first set of the final. She plays very well on the surface. And what happened is almost unexplainable.
She does everything full force. There is nothing half measure about her.
Mm.
And boy, did she full-throatedly lose this match. Like, she really lost it bigly.
Yeah. This was the loss to Schneider in the quarterfinals. The wind was a huge issue for Arena, but it became a huge issue once she started collapsing, right? She's up 6-3, 4-1, 30 love on her serve. That's 6 points away. Then she's got 5-3. She made it to 2 points away and completely collapsed mentally.
A bagel in the final set. This is just so difficult to comprehend that this could happen to somebody in her position.
Even watching it, it was hard to understand what exactly was going on. Credit to Schneider, who really started to step in, really started to add force to her ground strokes, whereas she was, playing with some spins and trying to trip Arena up for a lot of the first half of the match. Diana played very well, but what happened to the world number one was fairly shocking because I don't feel like those things really happen to her anymore. I mean, she has mental stumbles, but this was something else.
We talk about all the time about how her baseline is so high.
Right.
And to fall so below that after having shown us that she seems to be past that stage of her career, it was eye-opening. Now with Deanna having this result and with Serena Williams' return, we also get the return of Sasha Bain, who is Deanna's coach.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And he's had a lot to say on social media. And this was not a turn of events that I welcome.
He's even trying to restart the Patrick beef. We went through this. This is like 2016 drama.
Have your qualms with how that ended with Serena. How did it end with Naomi? Tell me that.
Oh.
You want to speak on that?
Why? Why did it end with Naomi?
Exactly.
Let's
Why
talk
are you
about
always
that.
in messy situations? You messy, messy man.
Let's talk about Maja for a moment. In our previous episode, we mentioned that out of nowhere, your younger brother said, "Say hi to Maja Falinska for me." Before the tournament, nobody knew who she was. I mean, some, insiders had watched her. I have no idea how your brother even knew her name.
Because through his work, he watches a lot of sports.
Yes.
So I presume he was watching a lot of qualifying.
So he noticed a very pretty young woman. I think that was
I'm not going to put words in his mouth.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to make assumptions on air. This is a podcast where we share our personal lives. We don't need to include other family members.
Iga Swiatek's bestie, 24 years old, ranked 114, and had only played around 15, 16 main draw WTA matches in her whole career coming into this tournament. She had recently won the Oeiras 125 in Portugal, which is on clay. So there's that. It wasn't totally out of nowhere. But otherwise, it has to be one of the most shocking slam final runs in history.
It called to mind Emma Raducanu's run to the US Open title. It would have also been a run from qualifying through to the title. That wasn't that long ago. We've had a lot of surprise semifinalists over the last decade.
Yeah.
We've had Leila Annie Fernandez making that US Open final as well. These things happen more often than we think they do. Maybe not to this extent.
We even had Boisson last year in the semifinals. I was looking through old draws. We had Podoroska in a semifinal.
Didn't we have Zidanšek 1 year too or something? Somewhere along the line? 2021 French Open semifinalist?
Oh, I did not remember that. I will say that Raducanu was much more known at the time.
Yes.
I think she'd reached the 4th round of Wimbledon that year.
Yes.
So people were talking about her. But you're right. This does happen. But a run to the final, it's pretty wild.
She knocked out 3 top 25 seeds. Number 23 Mertens, 22 Kalinskaya, who was big mad about it.
Oh.
Big mad.
Well,
saying,
stay that way.
Can't wait to play her on hard courts. Well, sorry, babe. This was a French Open dirt clay experience extravaganza. And
did you come here expecting hard courts?
And then she beat Deanna Schneider in the semifinals.
Plus, easy to forget at this point, she knocked out Zheng Qinwen in the first round, 6-4, 6-love, which prompted a very emotional press conference from Zheng.
Mirra's path, she beat Fiona Ferro in the first round, Bassols Ribera, Boskova, Teichmann, Kirstea, thankfully, Kostyuk, and then Maja in the final.
Yeah, thank you next for quarterfinals and semifinals. You did the work, and we appreciate it.
Wow, you found out something this past 7 days.
What I found out is do not get caught saying anything bad about Marta Kostyuk on Bluesky. Girl. It wasn't even... I know, you told me basically keep it on the playground, keep it on the podcast. Why would you post something like that? And all I said was something like, we can't have Marta win this.
Like, this is a conversation that we've had in reverse multiple times over the years.
I didn't say anything crazy.
You come for me all the time with my Australian Open musings, talking about keep it on your personal account if you must.
Right, but...
And I wake up the next day and I'm like, what in the world? And you knew what had happened because you even sent me a message to say, oh, sorry about that.
I will say, what I tweeted wasn't messy in my opinion. I mean, this isn't the old Twitter days.
You skeeted. To be clear, we no longer tweet.
Whatever. And I wasn't nice in one or two of the replies because I felt the reply was really unfair. I said, you can love her. I don't care. Like, this is my opinion. And don't characterize what I said as hate because in my house growing up, we were not allowed to say hate. Right.
Okay.
That's a strong word for me. I do not hate this woman.
We may be doing this from our kitchen table. We may not think of ourselves as anybody in tennis, but we still have a tennis account.
Sure.
And so we're not like any old person fighting in these Bluesky streets, right? Like,
and
it makes sense.
I barely ever post or respond. I was just compelled to respond.
Right, but it makes sense, and I think it's fair game for people to come for us.
Yes.
Because they don't see us as peers.
Fine. I did explain why I'm not a fan. And again, like, nobody has to agree. That's just my opinion. And then someone said, well, you should hold Sabalenka to the same standard if it's the transphobia stuff. And I said, you know what? You're right.
Absolutely.
That's totally
right.
fair.
Mm-hmm. People will find our stuff on Bluesky and not know our positions that we tell sequentially, chronologically, over time on the podcast. So listeners know why we would have an issue with Kostyuk. Somebody who's just coming across something on Bluesky, be like, well, wait a minute. We got some anti-Ukrainian hate over here.
Right. And to be clear, I'm not going to be a fan of someone just because they come from a certain country. Anyway, Marta had been on a 16-match win streak, 2 titles on clay. She'd just beaten her countrywoman, Svitolina, in 3 sets.
Who fumbled that bag?
Alina has been to the quarterfinals here now 6 times and has never made it past the quarterfinals.
3-time Rome champion. This is her slam to win if she's going to win one.
And I thought it was interesting that in those 6 quarterfinals, she never once lost to the eventual champion.
Mirra, by winning this title at 19 years old, Mirra is the youngest woman to win Roland Garros since Monica Seles won her 3rd title at the event in 1992. Mirra's run wasn't a minefield. This was a case of you beat the people in front of you.
Kirstea, potentially a very difficult opponent that was the quarterfinals. Marta Kostyuk, of course, is on a huge run. The amount of confidence you build up in that run can be overpowering.
Those were 2 of the most informed players on tour. to be fair
Yeah.
to Mirra.
Totally. And neither finalist played a top 10 seed. And you know what? That's fine. That happens. And Andreeva, again, like I reiterate, this is not a shocking slam winner, right? This is somebody who was a prodigy, who everyone pretty much assumed she would win a major at some point. She won 2 Masters titles in a row last year, beating people like Iga Swiatek and Aryna Sabalenka, right? This is not out of nowhere.
In that final, she was playing in slow and windy conditions against a player who'd used those conditions to upset and torment her opponents to that point. And so with the pressure of being this prodigy in the throes of her one moment in time, would she be able to grasp it?
Mm-hmm.
Would she be able to make the most of this opportunity, or would she succumb to the moment, the pressure, her opponent? She didn't. She met the moment and she won the title.
Mm-hmm. Really impressive, because all of the ingredients for a total crash out were there. Like you said, like conditions that could be difficult, an opponent who knows how to exploit those conditions.
A lefty in those conditions.
And she said, she practiced the day before with a lefty, and Conchita basically asked the hitting partner to mimic Maya's game completely. So it was like playing her.
The Conchi connection.
Well.
Inmaculada Concepcion Martinez Bernat.
The Spanish said, yeah, we can Catholic better than you. Inmaculada Concepcion.
Of course, Conchita, who lost the 2000 French Open final to Mary Pierce, is now the coach to help Mirra cross the line 26 years later.
Mm-hmm. There's poetry to that. And Mary Pierce left Mauritius, came to Paris, and gave Mirra the trophy. Anything less than a title for Mirra at that point could have been seen as a disaster. It's like, this has been set up for you. You're playing the number 114, and this adds so much pressure. And for somebody who has struggled with her temper and like keeping things in check on court, she performed incredibly well. And I imagine a lot of the credit has to go to her psychologist and this important connection she has with Conchita, because it just seems like Conchita gives her space to be herself, but also offers like this just chill, safe space for her.
A refreshing alternative to the scenes that are often on display with young players and their parents.
Yeah.
And now we still have young women, grown-ass women, Leila Annie Fernandez, having to deal with that with her father.
Yeah, we haven't talked about tennis parents in a long time. Maybe it's fodder for a standalone episode, but the kind of warped relationships that are on display for the world are basically just accepted and glossed over in this sport.
I have to push back a little bit. I know that Mirra was the big favorite in this match, but I don't think it would have been as horrendous if she had lost.
Okay.
Maybe in the way she would have lost if she lost, if it was a collapse, if it was a complete getting in the way of herself kind of moment, maybe that could have set her back a bit. But she's shown that she's able to get over these bumps in the road.
Yeah, yeah.
And a slam final at 19 is a big achievement, regardless of the context.
Totally. Now, all of a sudden, we find Andreeva leading the points race and has the most victories on tour so far. When did that happen? We've been covering the season so far, and I was kind of blindsided by that. She has titles in Adelaide, Linz, and now Roland Garros, tied with 3 with Aryna Sabalenka for the most titles so far. And the top of the sport, add another name to the top tier. Is
that what we're doing?
Well, I mean, it was kind of a big 4, right, for a while. And then there was Pegula, there was Andreeva, there were a few others. Andreeva is now part of that top tier.
That's what I'm legitimately asking. Is that where we are
I think so. Because she's shown that she can beat those top players.
Wow, you really are not afraid of her winning 23 more slams, are you? Because
as long as she cusses out Indian Wells again, I'll be okay.
Back to Sabalenka. She lost 10 games in a row to lose that match.
Yes.
10.
I know. Not to rub it in or anything. She was pretty distraught in press, saying like, "Oh, I want to quit tennis." And of course, she doesn't. I don't think she actually wants to quit tennis. She's back in Miami. Miami is like home base for her. I hope she's regrouping and just chilling out.
Mirra is up to a career high of number 5. So if you talk about that top tier that you were referencing, the top 5 players in the world by ranking now are Sabalenka, who is not that far ahead of Rybakina anymore. Less than 1,000 points ahead. Swiatek at 3, Pegula 4, Andreeva 5, Anisimova 6, Coco Gauff 7, Svitolina 8. Coco is all the way down to number 7 now.
Yeah. Coco was the defending champion here. She lost in the 3rd round. That's a whole lot of points gone. However, she only has, I believe, 11 points to defend on grass. Love that.
11.
That is essentially what you get for showing up. So if she just appears, she will defend those. But we have an opportunity to make up some ground.
Well, her best result on the surface came when she was, 16? 15, 16?
Yes, at the expense of the Grand Dame.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And just like that, we turn the page and we're on grass, and we're in Donna Vekic season. We are in Rybakina season,
Apparently Katie Bolter season.
We're in Tatiana Maria season.
Yes. Against all odds. Katie Bolter beat Yelena Rybakina today.
Excuse me?
Yeah. And Yelena committed to 4 grass tournaments, 3 before Wimbledon.
Well, she's trying to get those points. She's trying to close that gap.
Yeah. Well,
good luck to her. With the loss that Jannik Sinner sustained in the 2nd round, with Carlos Alcaraz's absence, it was the wild, wild west.
Mm-hmm.
In the men's draw, it was a race to get to that final, to a final that you may never reach otherwise in your career. Sounds harsh, but true. And then it was also a race to see if there'd be somebody across the net other than that guy.
Right.
And as it turned out, it was that guy. However, Madison Keys had a very astute observation that she made about the state of the men's draw while this was all unfolding. She said, quote, "They're all really worried about who's going to be in the finals and not about the match today. So we've seen lots of men's tennis today. I feel like their anxiety is slowly seeping into everyone's lives." That's a read. "So hopefully they can make it through that and feel a little bit better and stop worrying about the final Sunday and worry about today, tomorrow."
This was such a smart observation from her. And it was true. The anxiety about this opportunity was palpable. Like you could feel it practically through the TV because there are a number of players in their late 20s, one of them being Frances Tiafoe, Felix Auger-Aliassime, who have never been to a slam final, who've never won a slam. This was such an opportunity. And they knew it. And for many of them, we saw it break their brains.
Francis even said while he was out on court 14, an older black gentleman, as the Jannik thing unfolded, yelled at him and said, "Hey, he's out, now's your time."
Right. Meanwhile, he's in like hour 4 against Horkach.
In sweltering conditions.
Yeah.
This hovered over one half of the draw like an albatross.
Francis played the Italian Matteo Arnaldi in the 4th round for 5.5 hours. He served for it at 5-3 in the 4th set. There were some key opportunities missed. He botched an overhead, and that was all she wrote. Like, it felt so over at that point. Andrei Rublev, who we watched, and I remember saying, why not Andrei? At this point, why not? Lost to Jakub Menchik in 5 sets. Andrei came back from 2-0 in that match, went on to lose. The Felix one hurts because he expressed what it felt like.
Well, I hope it's an opportunity for reflection.
Wow.
Because he was up a set on Flavio, and then the roof was closed. And everybody knows about indoor tennis and Felix Auger-Aliassime. And what happened? Mess.
I could not believe, this was such a stroke of luck, right? Felix wins the first set, and then the roof closes. He's one of the best indoor players in the world. 8 of his 9 titles are on indoor surfaces.
Well, indoor hard courts.
Sure.
After the match, he said, quote, "Now I feel as if I'm not the player I want to be. So today's a difficult day."
Yeah. Another player seen as a prodigy, a lot invested in him, and at this point in his career, I'm sure he expected differently from himself. It makes me sad. I think Felix seems like a nice guy, and I know the risk in saying something like that.
Mm-hmm. Casper almost collapsed on court in the first round and continued to play multitudinous sets afterward. It wasn't just that there was the opportunity. It was that these guys who had the opportunity couldn't get off court fast enough to make it count.
Yeah.
They were all fighting gladiator style to the death, Kate Nishikori style in the first week of a slam.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To then do what? Be completely gassed.
Alex Dumenauer also lost to Menchik. Francisco Cerundolo out to Zvaida in 5 sets. And I'm only really mentioning the guys in that age range, that generation. A lot has been expected of those players, and this could have been a chance to really just go in there and fight for it against the presumed champion.
Zachary Zvaida made it to the 4th round.
Now, there's someone who took their opportunities.
And a cursory perusal of their social media would indicate that this is somebody with a personality. An American male tennis player with a personality. People are always asking whenever an American comes on the scene, they want to know if we have any inside intel. I don't.
No.
You know about that stuff, where they lean on the elephant donkey scale.
Right, and usually you can, take a guess.
Right, but I don't know, but I would like to hope that this is somebody that I could support a little bit.
Okay.
A little bit.
Mm-hmm. Did he congratulate that guy after he won?
I don't know. I didn't check. In preparing for this episode, I was wondering if we would do something whereby we don't even allude to the fact that that guy is a slam champion. I pretend like it doesn't exist. But I think we landed on it being a disservice to what his victory represents in tennis and how it allowed this to happen.
Yeah, the way I've been feeling about it is that thing everyone has been dreading for so long has happened now. And now we can all move on with our lives, right? We don't have to waste energy hoping and praying that somebody takes him out before the final. It's over. It happened. And what happened was that it brought even more attention to the allegations against him. It was a Streisand effect. He was trying to silence it, and guess what? A lot more people know.
Well, to be clear, I'll still be rooting for him to lose every single match.
Oh, yeah. It's just that it feels like almost, okay, now I have the freedom. Like, why am I investing energy in that?
A lot of horrible people have won slam titles.
Sure have.
He's not the first. He won't be the last.
Nope.
It also wasn't anybody's responsibility to stop him from winning. I know there's this thing that we do on social media where when somebody faces him in a big moment, it's like, well, you're up next. You have one job.
Right. Or, we celebrate them for taking out the trash.
Do we celebrate them when they're still lovey-dovey, broy with them? What is the purpose of elevating this player who's beaten him and causes us to have a moment of relief and respite? Meanwhile, we still see them being buddy-buddy besties with him.
Yeah.
Because it's clear that the vast majority of male tennis players have no issue with this man. In fact,
do not care.
They're friends with him. Carlos Alcaraz. That message was out quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not, I know people have said it's useless to sort of go through the roster and list who's congratulated him and who hasn't. And we talk about this a lot. It's never really safe to put all of your hope into this person you don't know, right? These parasocial relationships we have with players, we don't know how they feel about these things. Something that's important to us, being against domestic violence, is not important to a lot of these people. Or they choose to believe it's fake or made up, or they pretend like they never heard about it at all.
Some people took the angle that now he's a poster child for people with diabetes.
Oh,
Billie Jean King.
Billie Jean, I know that she needs to post. Like, she's a chronic poster, and when there's news in tennis, has to make her mark. This was a really perfect opportunity to sit this one out. I'm so sorry. He's also, I'm sure, very inspirational for people who've committed violence against domestic partners and have thrived after that.
He's inspirational.
Allegedly.
He's inspirational to men who like to protect other men and their bad behavior by default so that they too can continue to do the same.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that people overlook a lot with this, the immediate impulse to defend a man in this situation, it's an unspoken, well, what if it happened to me? And I can tell you that It's very simple that it would never happen to me because I won't do it. Like, you're operating under this, well, you never know. Women lie, they make up situations.
Like, I'm famous, I have money, people are going to try to
It's crazy.
make
it's
a buck
crazy
off me.
out there to be a man in this world. What is crazy is what men are allowed to get away with in this world and the people who prop up and protect them. And that's what we continue to see.
Because the percentage of false accusations is infinitesimally small compared to the actual violence happening inside relationships. You're much more likely to do the violence than to be accused of it.
Quentin Moynet in L'Equipe, he was granted a ride-along interview with that guy.
That is context I needed. They were in a car with that guy and with his team, his agent and a few other people.
His agent, who is Sergei Bubka Jr., who was a failed tennis player, son of Sergei Bubka, the great pole vaulter.
I thought so. Yeah. Okay. This was en route to the Eiffel Tower for the trophy photography session. Quentin asked some very important and uncomfortable questions on this car ride, on this day that is supposed to be pure promotion and PR.
But questions that were smart, because they didn't go directly to, did you do this? But let's talk about the fallout that you've had to deal with from these allegations that people are still talking about. You can't escape them. For example, at the Australian Open final, Australia believes Brenda and Olia, while that guy is about to give a runner-up speech.
He asked about the woman, Nina, who called that out in the dead silence. And that guy brushed past the question, but things went south very quickly.
Then Quentin asked about the media approach to him, given the domestic violence allegations against him from several years ago. He responds, quote, "Hold on. First of all, this isn't that kind of interview. Secondly, you know that the accusations have been proven false."
That of
dummy,
that of course
idiot,
is not true.
Moron.
In the court in Germany, it was settled. There was no judgment of guilt or innocence. That was part of the settlement. That's what the court said. So no claims were adjudicated, true or not.
Quentin was not asking him whether these allegations are true or false.
No.
He's asking him whether he thinks that it's unfair that the media continue to ask about it. At that point, Bubka Jr. pipes up.
Nevertheless, he persisted. Moynet presses on and mentions that L'Equipe, the newspaper that he works for, didn't feature that guy prominently on their front page after he won, which is extremely rare. And at that point, that guy says his innocence has been proven and that we should stop the interview. Again, that is false. His innocence has not been proven. And I want to reiterate, these allegations haven't been deemed true or false. There's no guilt or innocence here. This was settled.
Up until this point, that guy has been a very good tennis player who's had these allegations against him, multiple allegations for years. And so the challenge for a lot of the media is, well, I have to dance around this, or maybe at some point I have to say something because what else is there to say about him? But now we get to crown him slam champion. This is what happens when athletes win in these situations. That is the absolution. Right. And we saw that this past weekend. We don't need to talk about that anymore. Media are given a free pass to talk about this thing that's undeniable. It's this rite of passage that once you've reached this summit, all those other things can go away. That's the icky feeling that I got from it.
I mean, if you watch other sports, you know that abusers are celebrated constantly, right? And especially in the days before anyone cared, in the days when it was extremely taboo to even speak about it. God knows what these people were doing. Your favorite athletes, possibly. But before he won, we were in a place where a lot of even the brands that he endorses were kind of holding their noses and were sick to their stomachs about him. Like they neglected to feature him prominently in a lot of their campaigns. They were still paying him, but they're like begging influencers to do sponsored posts, about his watch and whatever. There was a lot of just discomfort, a lot of ickiness. Now, TV is different, as Ben Rothenberg pointed out. Like, TV doesn't care. They're not going to ask about the shit. Their job is like to promote. But print journalists, man, they're made of something different, because this detail that was shared is that guy essentially ends the interview in the car, but the car ride is not over. So they all just sit in a very uncomfortable silence until they reach the Eiffel Tower, which I realize is not funny, but this is the kind of stock that real reporters are made of.
You mentioned that L'Équipe did not feature him on the cover. The deputy editor-in-chief, Frédéric Galametz, said, quote, "We always take athletes' histories into account. Sport is not separate from society and must address issues of gender-based and sexual violence. It's part of our mission." Wow. What a moment. What a moment in time.
Yeah, I found it very interesting to see an editor speak so openly about that. Like, this is a new age in print journalism.
Bottom line is, we still believe, Brenda and Olia, that's not a throwaway line. It's not a position that we're just clinging to and hanging on to. We believe women. Period.
And you can reread the Slate pieces that Ben Rothenberg wrote. He's one of the reporters who really went whole hog into this, and as a result, he got sued.
Mm-hmm. According to Ben, still not fully wrapped up yet. Like, if this is something that is so irrefutable that it's proven false, why is this years on and still no full resolution? Mm-hmm. Surely not just the German courts dragging their feet. Surely not that.
No, and I mean, he wasn't sued in the United States. A defamation suit would fall apart in 2 seconds.
All of this is to partially say, we feel your pain. Listeners out there, I know a lot of you reached out and were looking forward to this episode so that you could commiserate with us.
Mm-hmm. Or to find solace. I don't know if we've given that, but we've been as honest as possible. And I'll just say, not in my world, not in the world I'm living in, is that man a slam champion.
Do you know what my intrusive thought was today? As we're watching grass court tennis now, and as we're watching already, within a few couple days, some pretty significant injuries.
Oh, please don't.
No, like, you can fill in the blank.
Yeah, now you're going to get the civility police after you. Another thing you would never post on Bluesky. Correct?
Right, I'm just not going to feel bad about it. It happened before once at the French Open. Not going to feel bad about that.
Right, I'm supposed to cry about it?
No, I won't. If tennis won't keep him out of the sport, if players and officials within the sport won't police him and hold him to account, then maybe the grass will.
To quote one of my favorite memes, I'm supposed to feel bad for that bitch?
That's that old lady.
Yes. Maybe she says sorry for that. Something like that.
Yes. This has got to be a massive boost for João Fonseca.
Yes, because he has silenced the haters who've been calling him overrated.
Like you.
I feel like I was on the bubble. But yes, he silenced me. I expected Novak to make a genuine run through the second week. Maybe not get there, but maybe his body would break down eventually. But he out and out beat Novak.
Novak was playing pretty well.
Yeah. Beat Casper Ruud, a former runner-up here. And then in the quarterfinals against Menchik, saved 6 match points before going out. And in that, the early part of the second week, watching Jakub Menchik kind of marveling at his speed for his size, like and the touch and the shape of his shots, really just respecting that quarterfinal he played against Fonseca, and then realizing he didn't have the firepower to go against that guy.
Matteo Berrettini made the quarterfinals
Right.
of the French Open before his body betrayed him. Again.
That was very upsetting. I really felt bad for him. This snapshot from Wikipedia that I put on the agenda before the quarterfinals ended, they slotted an Italian Matteo in the semifinals. Don't know which one, but a Matteo will make it.
Either Berrettini or Arnaldi. And we had one of the weirdest occurrences in that when that Matteo reached the semifinals, he issued a walkover to Flavio.
Yeah, to another Italian.
A semifinal that did not happen. The French Federation had to eat tens of millions of dollars through refunds. He has some kind of viral illness, yet we're getting a joint press conference where they're separated by quite some distance, but they're still in the same room. Right. Why is this necessary?
Why are you here?
How does this make sense?
Like, if we know it's a virus and it could be communicable, why are you here in person?
Now, was Flavio undercooked for the final? Was he sufficiently cooked? Like, I don't quite understand the level of play that I saw.
Oh, like you
while I did
him
watch
to be better
at the end of the 4th into the 5th.
Okay.
It was not giving what needed to be given. You simply stay in the points and wait for the collapse. Like the playbook is there.
Yeah. But 3 Italian men in the quarterfinals of a major for the first time in the Open era. Let's celebrate that. Very surprisingly, the number 1, Jannik Sinner, was not one of them. There is just a deep bench of Italians. And Berrettini versus Arnaldi is the extremely rare slam quarterfinal that's contested between 2 players ranked outside the top 100.
Good news. We had some good news. Taylor Townsend and Katerina Siniakova win another slam doubles title together.
Mm-hmm.
They can't stop winning. It's all they do is win.
They've won 3 1,000 titles this year, all in a row. They win their 3rd major together here. This was really their most dominant slam run yet. They lost a set, I believe, in the 2nd round, but the rest was in straight sets. I mean, they took out number 2, Delina Krunic in the final, number 4, Dabrowski Stefani, 6-love, 6-1 in the semifinal.
We saw their first match. We were there for the first set. It was over in a flash.
It was another bagel and breadstick, was it not?
I don't have that recall at the moment.
Okay.
You can check.
Fair enough.
While editing and adjust appropriately.
Siniakova now has 11 majors to herself in women's doubles, 1 in mixed. As a team, they're now only missing the US Open. And Taylor Townsend was actually a runner-up to Siniakova in US Open women's doubles 2022.
You wanted to mention that the French Open crowd was tickled by the Americans' presence in the crowd and how they rooted for Taylor.
Yes.
In that doubles match that we attended.
The Taylor Townsend squad is so specific, right? You know them anywhere. They have creative chants, and I love how they work in Katerina Siniakova into the chants. Like, she is just as much a part of it, even though this is clearly the Taylor cheering section. But they're cheering for the team. And I was sort of, I guess, pleasantly surprised that the French were so amused and interested and getting into the spirit of this very, very American approach to watching tennis.
Right here. Right. For those of you who attend tennis tournaments or maybe thinking about attending a tennis tournament, I encourage you to watch doubles. especially if you have the opportunity to watch one of the very top-ranked players in doubles. It's a completely different experience live than watching it on TV. You really get to appreciate more all that goes into being a top-flight doubles player.
Yeah, definitely. And I have a lot of work to do still to sort of understand the nuance and tactics that go into doubles, but it's really fun to watch.
But James, they're just failed singles players.
Oh,
They don't deserve to win any money.
I know. Where's Mr. Opelka now?
Where is Mr. Bublik? Well, he might be in the semis in
no,
Germany.
Not too much on him because he was recently, or maybe still is, in the top 10.
I also wanted to relay an experience I had with the food at the French Open that I forgot to mention on one of the last 2 episodes. We talked about that whole Jardin des Chefs area. And one evening, I went up, and because I've been on such a sardine kick for the last few months, I felt it was a perfect little snack for me to have. On the menu, they listed buttered sardines. I was like, oh, that's interesting.
That's like your ideal dinner.
Interesting. Love it. And so I go up, and the chef is preparing all these other things that are on the menu, lots of intricacies going on. I order my sardines. He goes and grabs an unlabeled tin, peels it open, zests some lemon, pinches something over it, like maybe a paprika or something, and then maybe a little bit of olive oil. I don't know. I don't know what it was. It took 10 seconds and then handed it to me for €10.
You know, I'm wondering, were you expecting like fresh caught sardines? I don't even know if those exist.
I was not expecting to see the sardines in the can, in the tin.
Right. But you remember being in Portugal before you were a sardine head.
Yes.
Those are huge. And they're probably much better quality than they are here.
They absolutely were. It was very tasty. And now I zest lemon on all of my sardines. I'm just saying it didn't quite meet the level of what I was seeing from other dishes being prepared.
From Chef Julien.
Yeah. I also want to issue a call, and we're going to issue this call on subsequent episodes going forward.
Okay.
Does anybody have a hookup for US Open tickets?
Right.
Does anybody have a hookup for US Open tickets? Because if I have to, I have to, for whatever it's being resold for.
Okay.
Within reason. But I don't know, maybe there's a listener who gets some corporate tickets through their job or something that could help us out, because this is unlike any other year that I've been to the US Open so far.
Yeah.
Maybe the prices will drop. Doubtful with Serena coming back. Like, that's going to complicate matters even more.
Now Federer is going to be playing in week 1, or week -1 as I call it. There's the mixed doubles thing that we'll talk about in the next episode that could be imperiled.
We initially thought we were going to be recording 1 episode today. In fact, we're going to be recording 2. So this is the end of episode 1, episode 425. We decided that we'd close the French Open with an episode solely dealing with stuff pertaining to the tournament. And then we are going to have another episode where we talk about stuff that's been happening since. So, of course, Serena's back. We're going to finally talk about that fairly in depth, give our thoughts on it, what we're expecting, what we're dreading, what we're looking forward to. We're going to be doing our review of the Rafa documentary, which we watched on the plane ride back from Paris. Folks have been asking for that as well. And we're going to talk about the New York Knicks. Knicks in 5?
Let's hope.
No more than 6, please. That brings us to the end of episode 425. My name is Jonathan. You can find me on Bluesky at Tennis John.
And I'm James at Elliot JMR.
2 L's, 2 T's. Everything BodyServe related can be found at linktree.com/thebodyserve. Thanks for listening.
Till next time.
Merci à tous. Merci.